Herb and cheese popovers. They're gonna be maybe unique and different than what you usually have at Thanksgiving, but let me tell you something. You're gonna love them because they get the crusty cheese on top, the soft, wonderful center. These popovers, they're a treat. Let's make them. If you aren't wanting to have the standard same dinner roll at your Thanksgiving, popovers are a great option. They're quick and they need to be made right before the meal, but they're so worth it. So in here I have 3 eggs, I'm gonna add 1 more. Popovers really are, they're a thin, simple batter, and it's just the heat of the oven that makes the magic happen. We're gonna make sure to add a little bit more flavor, which you'll see. So I have eggs, I'm gonna have whole milk. When I am baking, when I'm cooking, you see I often use whole milk. Do you know why that is? Whole milk has more fat, yes, which means it has more flavor, and I think that's super important. So I'm adding a little bit of sugar. Now, it's not enough sugar that these are gonna be super sweet, which you can make sweet popovers, but it really helps them turn golden brown in the oven, and it really brings out more flavor, and I think it really balances the flavors, which is important. And then we, of course, need some salt. Now, we are gonna be adding some cheeses to this too. It is Thanksgiving, we're going above and beyond. We're gilding the lily, because that's what it's all about. And I wanna whisk this until it's smooth with all the yolks broken up. So you wanna whisk this until it's smooth, and you don't want streaks of egg yolk in there. Those will then bake unevenly. So the big thing when you're making popovers, it's pretty simple ingredients. You can see you can make by hand. You wanna have your oven on, ready to go with the rack on the lower part of the oven, and you want it hot. That's the whole point. You want your popover pan ready to go. Now, if you don't have a popover pan, I have this one greased and ready. If you don't have one, just use a muffin tin, a 12-cup muffin tin. It'll make slightly smaller popovers, but honestly, for Thanksgiving, that's probably good because we're gonna be eating a lot of food. So I wanna take just a few herbs, so just a little bit of parsley from the garden here, and some thyme, and I wanna just chop them up. Now, popovers, like I said, they can go sweet, they can go savory. Since these are savory, since these are for Thanksgiving, I wanna give them a little bit more of a, like, turn up the flavor a bit. So we're gonna add some fresh parsley. I'm using flat leaf Italian parsley. I think that has so much flavor, and we don't give it credit a lot of times. I'm just chopping that up, and we're gonna add this directly to the batter. And then, of course, everyone's favorite, thyme leaves. It's my favorite. For one, the cheeses we're adding, I think thyme goes super well. And I just wanna have that flavor. It's like a little hint and reminds us of the season, but also really brings out, I think, the flavors we're gonna add with the cheese. So we have the herbs. Now we wanna do flour. So it's just all-purpose flour. And we're gonna dump it right on top in here, which is really easy. See how easy this can be? I think popovers scare people, but it's not just to have at your favorite restaurant. You can have them at home. And now we're gonna sprinkle those herbs on top. Isn't it pretty already? Anytime you can add some herbs like this to something, especially around Thanksgiving, which we have herbs sitting in the fridge at Thanksgiving, let's use them. I think it just adds a nice pop. So now we're just gonna whisk this until it's smooth, and we'll keep going. Once that flour's added, you wanna whisk it till it's pretty much smooth. If there's a few small lumps, that's okay. Don't get too worried about that. You can see though, it's fairly smooth, and that's really the whole point of it. It's such a simple thing. Now, like I said, you want everything ready to go, the oven on, everything hot, because the whole point of these doing well is going into a hot oven. Now, I know a lot of times certain recipes will say to preheat the pan. I don't find that makes as much difference in having a big, huge popover. So I don't do that. What I have here is some cheese. I think cheese is what makes these super savory and great for a meal. So I have a little bit of Gruyere, and then I have some smoked Gouda here. Now, smoked Gouda, to me, it's the magic cheese. It adds that smokiness. It adds that wonderful Gouda flavor that we just all love. I feel like no matter whether you're a kid, no matter whether you're an adult, smoked Gouda is that one that just brings us together. It's the cheese that brings us together. So I'm just mixing these two cheeses together. And so you're gonna get the nuttiness, you're gonna get the smokiness, and you're gonna get the cheesiness, and that's important. So at this point, when everything's ready, we add in the final thing, which is the melted butter. Super important because guess what? Flavor. We want that buttery flavor. Now I melted it, let it cool just slightly so you don't want it hot or warm when you're putting it in here. So I'm just gonna drizzle it in and just whisk it right in with that. So this is where your batter becomes a little bit more, not rich, but just slightly. Just like a little bit of richness to it and just a lot more flavor, which is, it's Thanksgiving. If butter isn't in somehow every dish that we're making, I don't know if it's truly Thanksgiving. So again, I have my greased and ready pan, which is an actual popover pan. You know, it's a popover pan, they separate them so you have the size they need to get to and they have plenty of room to grow. Also air movement easily around them, but a muffin tin really does work. So now we want to pretty much fill these up. And that's the important thing here is we want them to become big and lofty, and that means really filling them up. Now you're gonna see once I have these filled, I wanna show you what I put on top, because that is kind of one of the best parts. I just mixed up those 2 cheeses we shredded, and I'm just putting a nice big helping on top. And it's gonna somewhat soak down in, but it's also going to create this beautiful topping for these. So see how that's gonna, yeah, I know, see how good that's gonna look? So I'm gonna finish up these last ones, and then we're gonna pop these in the oven. I am using up all the cheese because, yeah, they're that good. Now, obviously, if you're doing a huge crowd, these may not be your Thanksgiving go-to, but if you want something extra special, you're having a more intimate gathering, or just make smaller sized ones in bigger trays. So like the muffin tins, you can make a couple muffin tins right away and have like 24 ready to go if you double it. So I'm gonna pop this now right into a hot oven, and you're gonna notice something. Again, it's gonna be on the bottom, and that heat is blasting, and we're not gonna open it, but a few minutes in, we're gonna turn the heat down and then let them fully bake. I just took these out of the oven, and you can see they pop and they get kind of like opened up when the steam escapes, and there's melting cheese inside, crusty cheese on top. You wanna serve them right away because they keep kind of closing in a little bit, but guys, look how you want that beautiful browning all around, and oh, do you hear that? You get the crustiness, you get the, they're like a beautiful like egginess, and yet not quite. I love the quality of them, and I love how when you take pieces of them, Okay, personally, I love the little bits of brown cheese on the ends. That to me is just like, this outerness is what gets me right there. All these edges are gonna be mine, but then the inside is almost like this like beautiful, warm, not custardy, but it kind of edges on custardy center. And that's what I love about a popover. They're beautiful. They're kind of special. They're one of those things you're not gonna maybe make every day, but you can see how quick they can be. So to me, right at the end of the meal, when all of your other things are done, kind of cooling off, you need to let your turkey rest. You usually need to let side dishes just rest a few minutes. You pop these in the oven, and there you go. You have them fresh and ready for your meal. It's a treat, it's delicious. They're addicting because I want to keep going down now and eating this one. And I hope you can see how fun it can be. That's the point of these videos. When you watch these videos, when you share these videos, not only am I getting excited, but when you share them, other people get excited too and see how doable and easy and fun this stuff can be. That's the point. Food needs to be fun. It needs to be delicious. It needs to gather people together. That's the whole point, especially around Thanksgiving. So share it, check my website, wiseguy.com for this recipe and so many other recipes. They're all on there. Until next time, make a popover. You're gonna make them many times.